If you have ever felt that your ideas were too big for the people around you, if you have ever been told that your dream is impossible, that you think too differently, that you should just be quiet and follow the crowd, and if you have ever wondered whether it is really worth it to keep going when no one believes in you, then this story is not just for you. It is meant for you. Because today you are not just going to improve your English. You are going to meet a man who changed the world with his mind. A man who lit up entire cities with a device no one had ever imagined, but whose last days were spent alone, broke, and forgotten in a small hotel room. His name is Nikola Tesla, and by the end of this video, you will not only learn new English words and phrases, you will also learn one of the most painful and beautiful truths about human nature. So sit back, relax, listen closely. Now, let us travel back in time to a tiny village in the mountains of what is now Croatia. The year was 1856. A baby boy was born into a Serbian family. His father was a priest. His mother was a woman who built her own tools and invented small household machines, but she could barely read. The boy was weak. He was sick often. His family worried he would not live, but inside that small, sick body was a mind that did not work like anyone else's. When Tesla was a child, he had a strange ability. He could see images in his mind, complete, detailed pictures of machines and inventions, before he had ever built anything. He called them visions. And these visions were so real that he could put his hand through the imaginary machine and feel it. In other words, his imagination was more powerful than most people's reality. But being different was not easy. Tesla had no close friends. He preferred to be alone, reading books by candlelight long after his family had gone to sleep. One night, when he was about 10 years old, he saw a picture in a magazine of a waterfall turning a wheel. He asked his father, "What makes the wheel turn?" "The water," his father said. "And what makes the water move?" "Gravity." "And what makes gravity?" His father could not answer. But that question never left Tesla's mind. He became obsessed. Obsessed. That means completely unable to stop thinking about something, with one idea: the invisible forces that move the world. By the time Tesla was a teenager, he had already decided his purpose. He would harness a force that almost no one understood: electricity. But first, he had to leave his village. He went to school in a bigger town. He studied engineering in Austria. He worked in a telegraph company in Budapest. And there, in a public park in Budapest, something happened that changed everything. He was walking with a friend. The sun was setting. Tesla was reciting lines from a poem. He loved poetry as much as physics. And then, suddenly, he stopped. In his mind, he saw a vision of a magnetic field spinning. A rotating magnetic field, no wires, no brushes, no sparks. He grabbed a stick and drew the design in the dirt. That drawing became the alternating current motor. In other words, the machine that would eventually power the entire modern world. But here's the truth: no one in Europe wanted it. They said his idea was too wild, too theoretical. They said it could never work. So, Tesla made a decision. He packed one small bag. He booked a ticket on a ship, and he sailed to America, the richest, most powerful country on Earth. He arrived in New York in 1884 with 4 cents in his pocket. 4 cents, and a letter of recommendation to the most famous inventor in the world, Thomas Edison. Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever met someone who promised you everything and then gave you nothing? Tesla walked into Edison's office. Edison hired him. Tesla worked day and night, 18 hours a day, sometimes 7 days a week. He solved problems that Edison's own engineers could not solve. Edison was happy. He told Tesla, "If you can improve my generators, I will give you $50,000. $50,000. That would be more than $1 million today." Tesla worked hard. He fixed the generators. He made them run better than before. When he asked for the money, Edison laughed. "Tesla," Edison said, "you do not understand American humor. He never paid." And then Tesla made an even bigger mistake. He told Edison about his idea for alternating current. Edison hated it. Why? Because Edison had built his entire business on direct current, DC. AC was faster, more efficient, and could travel long distances without losing power. But Edison's factories, his patents, his money, all of it was built on DC. If AC succeeded, Edison's empire would fail. So Edison did not just say no. He declared war. And this is where our story becomes not just a story about electricity, but a story about power, money, and betrayal. Let me explain it to you in a simple way. Imagine you are carrying water in a bucket. That is DC, a steady, slow, direct flow. It works fine for one house, but you cannot send the bucket very far. Now imagine you have a hose that can spray water across an entire city. That is AC. Fast, powerful, efficient. But the man who sells buckets does not want you to use a hose. He will say the hose is dangerous. He will say it will kill you, and he will pay people to prove it. That is exactly what Edison did. Edison's associates publicly electrocuted. That means to kill using electricity. Animals with AC current, just to make the public afraid. He supported the invention of the electric chair for executions, and he used Tesla's AC system to power it, to brand the technology as the death current. Tesla watched his invention be used to kill. But instead of giving up, Tesla did something that still makes my heart beat faster. He stood in front of a crowd at the 1893 World's Fair in Chicago, and he let 250,000 volts of alternating current run through his own body. The electricity did not kill him. It danced on his skin. His body glowed. The lights in the room went dark, and then, from his hands, lightning shot out. The crowd gasped. Tesla was proving that AC was not dangerous. It was safe if used correctly. And he was proving it with his own life. That moment changed everything. The World's Fair was completely lit by Tesla's alternating current. And just a few years later, the greatest engineering project in American history used Tesla's invention, the Niagara Falls power plant. The water that had fascinated Tesla as a boy, falling, turning, now powered an entire city. Tesla had become famous. He had money. He had a beautiful laboratory on Long Island called Wardenclyffe. And he had a new dream. A dream so big it still gives me chills. He wanted to send electricity without wires. Free energy. For everyone. Everyone. No power lines, no bills, no companies controlling the light in your home. Imagine that. You wake up in the morning. The moon is still in the sky. But there are no light switches, no wires. The electricity is simply in the air. That is what Tesla was building. He built a giant tower at Wardenclyffe. He planned to use the Earth itself, the entire planet, as a conductor. You could plug a device anywhere on Earth and receive power. No cost, no limits, no monopolies. A monopoly. That means when one company controls an entire industry without any competition. Now ask yourself this question. Who loses if energy is free? The answer is everyone who owns energy. And the richest man in America at that time was J.P. Morgan. Morgan had given Tesla money for the tower, but when he discovered that Tesla was building something that would make his own investments in copper and power plants worthless, he did not get angry. He got quiet. He stopped sending money. Other investors pulled out. Tesla tried to raise funds by selling shares. He begged for support. No one came. Because the most powerful men in the world had decided that Tesla's dream was too dangerous. Not because it would not work. Because it would work too well. And this is the part that breaks your heart. Tesla did not stop. He kept working. He kept believing that someone, somewhere, would understand. He sent thousands of letters. Most of them did not reply. He spent his nights alone in his laboratory. He slept only 2 hours a day. He fed the pigeons on the windowsill because they were the only living things that visited him. And then, one by one, his patents expired. A patent. That is a legal right that protects an inventor's original idea. Other people took his ideas and made millions. Marconi is called the father of radio. But Marconi used 17 of Tesla's patents. The United States Supreme Court finally ruled in Tesla's favor in 1943. But by then, Tesla was already an old man, living in room 3327 of the New Yorker hotel. He was alone. He had no wife, no children, no friends, no money. On January 7, 1943, a maid found him dead in his room. He was 86 years old. Tesla had once written, "The present is theirs. The future, for which I really worked, is mine." He was right. But he never lived to see it. Tesla had changed the world, but the world had not changed for him. He died in debt. His tower was destroyed. His laboratory was abandoned. And most of his papers were taken by the government, classified and hidden. Now let me ask you something. Do you feel angry? Good. That anger means you understand the value of what Tesla gave us. But do not stop at anger, because Tesla's story teaches us something more important than any invention. It teaches us that genius does not guarantee success, that being right does not mean people will listen, that the world is not always bare. And yet, Tesla never stopped creating. He never stopped believing. He filed approximately 300 patents across 26 countries in his lifetime. Here are 3 lessons from the life of Nikola Tesla that you can apply to your own life today. Lesson number 1, trust your vision, even when no one else sees it. Tesla saw the alternating current in his mind before anyone else. Edison fought him. The public was afraid. But he knew, and he kept working. Lesson number 2, beware of people who profit from your ideas without giving back. Tesla never learned to protect himself. He gave away his inventions and trusted the wrong people. You must be smart about who you share your deepest work with. Lesson number 3, do not let your genius isolate you. Isolate. That means to completely separate yourself from other people. Tesla's greatest enemy was his own loneliness. Even the most brilliant mind needs someone to share the light with. And if you feel like no one understands you right now, remember Tesla. Remember that the same people who laughed at him now live in a world he built. And one day, maybe they will understand you too. And this brings us to the ultimate test of your own life. A final reflection that connects everything you have heard today. Think about the moment when Nikola Tesla faced the greatest test of his life. The moment when failure seemed certain. When everyone around him said, "It is over, give up, you have lost." In that moment, Tesla made a choice. Not a choice about strategy, or tactics, or resources. A choice about identity. He decided who he was going to be. That is the lesson most people miss. It is not enough to know what you want. You must know who you are, even when everything falls apart. Tesla did not fight because victory was guaranteed. He fought because his identity would not allow surrender, and that is why his story still matters today. You see, life will test you. Not once, not twice, many times. It will test your patience. It will test your belief in yourself. It will test your ability to keep moving when you cannot see the path ahead. And in those moments, you will ask yourself, who am I? Really? If you have not answered that question before the test comes, you will fail. But if you have decided, if you have looked at yourself in the mirror and said, I am someone who does not quit. I am someone who learns. I am someone who grows stronger from every fall, then the test becomes just another step, not a wall, a doorway. Let me give you a second example, much smaller but true. A student of English once told me, I have been studying for 2 years. I still cannot speak fluently. I feel like I am wasting my time. I asked him, who told you that learning a language is fast? He said no one. I asked him, how many hours have you actually practiced speaking out loud every day? He was quiet. Nikola Tesla did not become great in a week. He spent years preparing, years of failure, years of being misunderstood. That is the real price. Not money, not luck, just consistent, patient effort over time. And Tesla did not do it alone. He learned from the people who came before. That is why you must surround yourself with the right voices, books, videos, people who push you forward. If your environment tells you that you cannot grow, change your environment. Even if it is just one book, one video, one conversation. So here's my final question to you. Will you wait for the perfect moment? Or will you start where you are, with what you have, and become the person you need to be? History does not remember the people who waited. It remembers the ones who acted. I want you to close your eyes for 5 seconds, breathe, and promise yourself one thing this week. One small action. One sentence of English spoken. One paragraph read. That is all it takes to begin. Nikola Tesla started somewhere small. You can too. And remember, every legend you study today is a lesson you can live tomorrow. The knowledge you gain from these stories is not just history. It is a map for your own journey. The more you learn, the more you grow. And the more you grow, the more you become the hero of your own story. Your story is still being written, and every day is a new page. Make it count. Now, I want to hear from you. Tell me in the comments, what is one thing you learned from Tesla's life that you will apply to yours today? If this story touched you, make sure to subscribe to this channel. Every week, we bring you the stories of people who change the world in simple English, so you can improve your language while you improve your life. Take action today, not tomorrow. See you in the next one.